Hi, soul travelers, and welcome back to my channel where I share knowledge I have obtained as well as my experiences to help you on your spiritual journey as I continue to grow on my own. As you all know, I'm also known as the Soul Traveler, and I'm a tarot reader, spiritual counselor, and teacher. You can find my link in the description box below if you need a personal tarot reading. So before we get into the video, I am going to pull a card of the day just for a little guidance for you guys to set the tone for the video and to give you a little guidance for your day. So, what is it that we need to hear today? What do we need to know today? Alright guys, so this is so funny because this is the same card I got in the last video. We have the Hierophants, guys. So this is time to expand your spiritual knowledge, okay? For some of you, this can mean that you're not ready to break out of the way you're used to doing things. And for some of you, this means you should go for what you know. Okay, so that's just a short message for you today. And let's get into the video. So today we are going to be talking about this separation of physical and the spiritual, and it's like a huge issue. Okay, so we tend to separate the physical and spiritual matters, and we do this consciously, but we do it more so on an unconscious level, on a subconscious level, without even realizing it. One big example of how we do this, okay, is when it comes to manifesting material wealth, when it comes to manifesting money, okay? We'll put in so much effort and we'll get on our grind, so to speak, right? We'll put in all this work, all this work, all this work, and it seems like we can never get ahead. It seems like we can never get anywhere. Why? Because our spirit and our mind is in a state of lack. And so when your spirit and mind is in a state of lack, no matter how much work you put in, no matter how hard you grind, no matter how hard you effort, you're never going to see the results. Because as y'all know, I tell you a million times, your material world, your outer world is going to reflect your inner world. So if you're putting in the work and you're grinding, but you're constantly watching your bank account and pinching your pennies and afraid of how much money you don't have, guess what? All the grinding you're putting in, it's going to go nowhere, okay? Because when we're efforting, that's also coming from a place of lack. When we're in the flow, when we are trusting, and we have a high vibration and we're trusting in the universe, things just flow, okay? Remember, guys, when we trust in the universe and we're vibrating high, we have an endless resource of money, okay, of abundance, because our trust in the universe is going to continually flow. Another big example of how we do this, especially in the modern generations, is through sex. A lot of people have the idea that we can engage in sex with no strings attached, okay? When in truth, there are always strings attached. And I say this a lot, but everything that is spiritual is natural. That's another way of saying everything spiritual is physical, okay? Because everything that we think, feel, and experience is first created on the spiritual plane. You must understand this. It's first created on the spiritual plane. And it's the spiritual plane is the fastest moving plane, where the physical is the slowest moving plane. So that's why it takes longer for things to show up here in the physical, okay, and to materialize here. So when it's created on the spiritual plane, it then moves into the mental. We have the thought, then we have the emotion, which is the reaction, and then it shows up here in the physical, okay? So that's how manifestation works, whether it's negative or positive. So when you decide to engage sexually, you have already opened your spirit to this person. You have already created like a tie, okay? Of course, once it makes it into this plane, that tie is strengthened. But this is why we create soul ties. And it's just not possible to create or have sex with somebody without a spirit being involved or emotions being involved, no matter what you may think. Okay? Because when we have sex, our portals are open, our sacrals open, like all kind of shit gets opened. All right? So, like, if you think you can do that, think again. All right? Because physical and spiritual are never separate. Body, mind, and soul. Or body, mind, and spirit never separate. It's always one. Okay? So it's insane to believe that we can separate the two, okay, in any form or fashion. We're spiritual beings in a human body. Don't forget this, okay? There's another instance. I want to give you guys another example. You know, I like to teach y'all through example. I'm a tarot reader, okay? And a lot of people beginning to read tarot, myself included, when I started, will get obsessed with memorizing the meanings, right, of the cards, and get frustrated when we really can't, like, commit them all to memory, or struggle with trying to tie cards together, or struggle with trying to deliver a unique message based on the individual reading for, and we're trying to deliver all these individual meanings that we have memorized, or we try to memorize, and it gets frustrating when we hit a wall. But what's actually happened is that we forget that the cards are just physical objects, okay, and meaningless without the connection of our spirit. So again, that's another example of how we're separating. When I was able to become aware of this, that I was separating myself from the cards and seeing them as outside of me, right? When I was able to become aware of this is when I became a better reader, like overnight. And I started just actually feeling my cards rather than trying to, like, literally read them like a book, like from memory, okay? Because in that fact, if I did it like that, it'd be no different than like an automated calculator, like those automated tarot sites you can go on with a calculated reading, right? So we must stop separating our bodies and our material world from our spirits. Because I watched a video the other day. This is a really good one. I watched a video the other day about how our physical bodies are a manifestation of our spirits. And it made so much sense, okay? So if you're carrying extra weight that you don't want, it's because you're carrying baggage in your spirit. If you have inner insecurity, you will never like your body, no matter how much plastic surgery you get, no matter how much in good shape you get. If you're empty and not spiritually fulfilled, you will overeat to fill the void, okay? Aches and pains are related to blocked or unhealed spiritual illnesses, blocked chakras, depending on where, you have the pain. It's sickness is a manifestation of spiritual illness, y'all. Cancer, immune deficiency, your drained energy, having stomach issues means you're holding trauma in the womb. Like, all of it is, like, all together, okay? We cannot separate the spiritual and the physical. And the sooner you guys realize this, like, the better off you'll be. Because so many people find themselves trying to control their outer circumstances through their physical actions or through their words or through whatever. But if spiritually where you're coming from is lack and you're actually attempting to avoid something, then that's where you're going to manifest, okay? You cannot separate. They're not separate. Okay. A lot of people have this thing where they're like, well, I'll be happy when I get such and such an X, Y, and Z. Well, if you listen to Abraham Hicks on YouTube, she always says, no, you get happy first and then the rest comes. And it's absolutely true. I know y'all get tired of hearing this, but you cannot simultaneously think you're going to physically create something when your spirit or your inner world is totally on a whole different wavelength. It just cannot happen because everything is first created on the spiritual plane and then it moves down into the physical, okay? Even it appears on the physical later, but it's all being created at the same time from the same source, okay? So I just wanted to put that out there for you guys, especially for those of you who are wondering why your manifestation isn't coming or how come things are going like this or like that. So evaluate. Guys, how are you separating? What areas are you separating your spiritual from your physical? Okay, this is also called separation consciousness, and this creates cognitive dissonances too, meaning that you have two opposing beliefs. So you're going after the job, you're taking the actions to get that job or get that career, but inside you don't really believe it can be yours. That's cognitive dissonance. That's two opposing things. So anyway, I'm not going to ramble long. This video is not going to be long at all. If you guys need a tarot reading, you want to get some blockages uncovered, I have a reading for that. I have a reading for, like, everything you can think of, okay? So just hit me up. You love readings. I specialize in those. Fertility readings, career, anything you would like. And I don't just read cards, y'all. I help you get to the meat and the root of this stuff so I can give you tools and advice on how to heal and how to fix your issues, okay? So again, my link will be in the description box below. And that's all I have for you today, soul travelers. See you at the next stop.